Hello and thanks for listening to this podcast from Perth YMCA. We recently attended a roadshow run by the Scottish Centre for Intergenerational Practice in Perth. But what is intergenerational practice?
Intergenerational practice is a fancy way of saying bridging the gaps between different generations, helping every generation appreciate what the other one has to offer, and breaking down any stereotypes or barriers that may get in the way.
We got the chance to speak to 3 young people from Perth and ask them some questions about learning from other people. We asked them what type of skills they felt old people could pass down to them.
Knitting skills and history and just a bit about how the world works, really.
Past trades, things that have been learnt years and years ago that doesn't get taught today. Like, as she said, like sewing, there's stuff that you would learn in school like 50 years ago that you just wouldn't even think about teaching people today for some reason.
I think the main thing would be history of, for us it'd be history of Perth, really. Because I've learnt a lot from my gran myself about the history of Perth, what it used to be like, what businesses were in Perth, what were the first businesses in Perth, what it was like before the centre was there.
And what type of skills do you think you could teach older people?
Probably IT skills, how to work phones, internet, how to communicate with people in different countries, webcam.
Almost the whole world's run by some sort of computer, so there's countless amounts of things that we could teach the older generation.
Well, one project which has been running for 2 years now, teaching old people basic IT skills, is the Forward IT project run by the Servite Housing Association. We spoke to Kathy Robertson from the organisation and asked her what the thinking behind the project was.
I suppose the objective of the project is to teach an older generation IT skills, but it's kind of expanded to much more than that. Because there's stories, there's anecdotes, there's skills that are passing between the 2 generations as well, which I didn't really think would happen, but that's been an offshoot of it.
So why IT skills?
We thought that maybe computing would be a way of widening up the world, so we put computer suites into the sheltered housing schemes. And then the problem was bringing people to the computer suites to use it. So, it was all very well having the equipment there, but then we didn't know quite what to do with it. We did roll out some training, initially 3 little slots of training, but that wasn't enough. So putting our thinking caps on, we came up with the idea that maybe the schools would like to be involved. And that was just, the start of a very successful project.
One person who's making full use of the Forward IT project is Kathleen, who has been attending the training courses which are run by young people in her area. We asked her if she thought there were many of her friends keen to learn these new skills.
Yes, I do. I mean, I never dreamt. I live in sheltered housing. I never dreamt I would be, using the computer. So it's been a great project, worthwhile project.
So what type of things are people keen to learn on these computers?
The webcams, that was a nice surprise for people. Computing was just about, the phrase, I don't even know how to turn it on, is something you hear all the time. And quickly changing that from learning how to turn it on and learning how to make some use of it to actually seeing a practical application in getting in touch with family abroad was a huge bonus, but nobody really appreciated that was what we could get to.
Well, what about young people who are delivering this training? How are they finding being a part of the project, and what are they gaining from experience? We spoke to Hannah and Rachel from Webster's High School and asked them if they had any worries about starting the project.
Just like we didn't know what to expect and how much they'd know, but when we got there they didn't really know anything, so it was like back to basic stuff.
And were you apprehensive about working with older people before you started the project? What types of things were you worried about?
Yeah, I didn't like the idea of it, but they're really nice. I just didn't really know what to talk about, but once you get to know them, they're quite good. Just they'd have a go at us about being teenagers and the youth nowadays, but they were really nice and knew a lot of their grandkids who went to school with us as well, so it's quite good. We had some stuff to talk about.
And how are the older people using these new skills after you've trained them?
A lot of them have bought their own laptops now because from starting the thing. So we were able to tell them what laptops were the best and where to get them from and that. And so a lot of them do it from home, can do things from home now.
That was Hannah and Rachel from Webster's High School speaking about their involvement with the Forward IT project. If you would like any more information on intergenerational projects running where you are in Scotland, log on to the Scottish Centre for Intergenerational Practice at www.scotcip.org.uk.